now rocking with that dude Pascal. We be going wild, Haitian in the building, so original. Got the haters catching feelings. Get your hands up to the ceiling and keep them held high, cause St. Louis isn't ready. Forget about it, goodbye. Hold up, we just saying hi. Five somebody, rise up. Weekdays, catch us live, somebody. Let's go.
Good evening. Good morning and good afternoon, everybody. Welcome to the Pascal Show. Hope you guys are all doing well out there. Hope this show finds you in good spirits, because another day above the dirt is always a blessing. Let's not forget that. We got some things we have got to get into, and then in just a short amount of time, in a little bit over 20 minutes from now, there will be a new press conference coming out revolving around this whole tragedy that happened in Minnesota. And of course, for those of y'all who don't know what's going on, I'm going to give you guys a breakdown. I'm going to be breaking it all the way down for you guys before we get into this press conference. Again, a lot has been going on. We're still trying to understand what the heck is going on, why this person did what they did, etc. And of course, we're going to get into that conversation very, very shortly. So do me a favor, if you can, hit that like button down below, okay? Hit that reaction button if you're watching on other platforms, all right? We're live on all these platforms like Facebook, X/Twitter, Instagram, TikTok, Rumble. Make sure if you're watching on any of those platforms, please do me a solid, okay? Hit that follow button down below, all right? Hit that follow button down below. Let's not forget, if you are watching on YouTube, subscribe. Hit that subscribe button. That'd be greatly, greatly appreciated. Okay, that would really, really mean a lot. All right, subscribe to my second channel. It's called The Pascal Show Clips. Subscribe over there as well. We got some really great content coming over there on that channel very, very soon. So be sure to subscribe, hit that notification bell over there and over here as well. Set it to all so you know whenever I go live, whenever I upload, because honestly, it is random as of late. Okay, well, not that random, but you know what I'm saying. As far as the other stuff, we have very scheduled out shows for the next couple weeks. Let's be real, because we're covering the Diddy trial. But outside of that, a lot of it's random. A lot of it's just going to be breaking news stuff. So make sure that notification bell is set to all so you know whenever I go live or whenever I upload, because it is random. Hit that join button down below. Become a member. Check out my Patreon. Check out my locals. And, of course, check out PascalMerch.com. Okay, guys? Check out PascalMerch.com. You can get cool hoodies like this at PascalMerch.com. Okay, guys, we got quite a bit to look at. And there is a press conference that's going to be happening in a little less than 20 minutes from now. So I want to make sure that we are available to watch that and see what's going on. But just to give you guys a quick, very brief breakdown, in Minnesota, there was a man that dressed up as a cop and went up to two lawmakers' residences and opened fire on two sets of people, two couples, okay? Husband and wife in both, all right? This was clearly a targeted attack because of the information that we've heard lately. And of course, there's a lot more information that's come out that is very creepy, very cryptic, and pretty wild. But nonetheless, this particular person is also still on the lam. He is still out on the lam, y'all. He is still at large. They don't know where he is, except there's been new breadcrumbs that were dropped off that were left behind as of late. They found a car, the hat that he apparently likes to wear a lot, okay, that they've seen in photos and in surveillance videos, okay? But there has been new information that has been absolutely crazy out here, and we need to talk about that for sure. But one of the things is that everyone wants to know who this guy is, okay? Again, I'm just going to make it abundantly clear. This is the man right here. His name is Vance Boelter, okay? Vance Boelter. Vance Luther Boelter. This is what he looks like. Several different looks. Okay, he has several different looks, and I got to tell you, okay, this is a very dangerous man, in my personal opinion. Okay, and there's been a lot of question on who this person is and what's the background here. Okay, because everybody wanted to, you know how it is. We live in a world where we are so quick to want to point the blame at a specific political party or a specific activist group or a specific group or a specific demographic. It's always like that, right? And so there's been a lot of confusion about this man's political affiliation, for lack of a better term. Okay. And in fact, some of the information out here has angered certain corners of the world. Why? I don't know. I honestly have no idea why people get so angry about that information when when people are trying to find out exactly why this person did what he did, when they say it's politically motivated, but then they say, wait a second, he couldn't be a Trump supporter because he was working with under or alongside Tim Walz's Governor Tim Walz's camp. Okay, in Minnesota, a lot of people are sitting there, which I understand, very confused. Okay, but there's certain realms of the world that want to point fingers at things like crazy. Why? I don't know. To calm their own mind, to calm their nerves. I don't know what it is. Okay, but what I do know is that it shouldn't matter. What this person did is what this person did. He walked up to 2 different homes, opened fire on those 2 different homes, took the lives of 2 people, a couple, and then the other 2 are now severely injured in the hospital. For just so you guys know, there has been new updates. The senator's wife, okay, Hoffman, his wife apparently just woke up just a little bit ago. So that is something to be positive, something to be happy about. Because at the end of the day, evil is as evil does, okay? And let's be real. This is evil. Doesn't matter his political affiliation. We shouldn't be losing sleep over that. If he is a Trump supporter, then he's a Trump supporter. If he's not a Trump supporter, then he's not a Trump supporter. What happened here is disturbing and wrong and should never happen to any of our elected officials, period. Regardless of what side you stand on, because there's still people out here on the left that will do bad things and still people on the right that will still do bad things. Evil is as evil does. Just a quick reminder, okay? Evil doesn't go, oh, no, they're red, so I can't mess with you. I'm not going to go and touch that person over there. I'm just going to go over to the blue side. No, evil just takes whoever they want. It is colorblind. It doesn't give a damn. The devil is a lie. Let's not forget that, ladies and germs. Okay, so let's remember that. Okay, as we continue on, because we don't need the debates in the family chat over BS that doesn't matter. Let's figure out where this man is and bring him to justice as quickly and as swiftly as possible, because guess what? That's the part that matters. Right? Right. But real quick before I continue on, okay? Happiest of Father's Day to every single last one of you fathers and you mother fathers out there as well, okay? Shout out to all you daddies and all you mamas that wear the daddy hat too, okay? And all the daddies that wear the mama hat too, because, you know, it's a lot. And for all you single parents out there, shout out to all y'all, okay? Shout out to all y'all, okay? Let's be real. Don't know how you do it. I have no idea how you do it, okay? But it's magical. Whatever you're doing, keep it up. Keep your head up. You're fantastic, all right? And then, of course, let's not be real. Let's not forget the parents that are co-parenting, okay? Let's be real. It's hard out here. Okay? It's hard out here for a parent. Especially when you're co-parenting, especially when you're in a couple working things out, working on the babies and all that stuff. It's a lot of work. So shout out to you guys, okay? Even when the jobs are split up, it's still a lot of work. Let's not forget that dagnabbit. Okay. Now, there's been a lot of questions. We got some videos we got to look at, etc. We have a press conference coming up here very, very shortly. We're going to get into it very, very shortly as well. But here it is. Rianne, thank you so much for the happy Father's Day. And yes, everybody out here, all you daddies, okay? Thank you so much for the super chat. I appreciate it. Happy Father's Day to every single last one of y'all. Hopefully you guys didn't get a mother-loving, tube socks or like a tie, okay, for Father's Day, because that is mother loving diabolical. Okay, so and here's the other thing too. Hopefully you didn't get like a new weed whacker or like a new lawnmower. All right, it's like, dang, this is just for me to work. I see what you're saying, baby. I get it. I gotta mow the lawn more often. Okay, thank you so much for that lawn mower. Appreciate it. Damn. So I guess I know I'm gonna be using this entire summer. You know what I'm saying? You know, guys like to be pampered too every once in a while. I know there's some guys out there that like, you know what I mean? Testosterone, man. You know what I mean? I get that. But every once in a while, we want a massage. You know what I mean? Little foot rub. No, I'm not saying anything about Diddy, but I'm just saying we just want a little bit of love. Ain't nothing wrong with that. You know what I mean? A little pampering. You know? Just saying. You know, we want to be sitting on the side drinking a Cosmo saying, stop it, you too much. Ha ha ha. Tell me more. Just dish. That's all we want to do for 5 seconds. Okay? I'm kidding. No, we want a beer. We want a steak that's still got a bow and arrow in it. Okay? We don't want to spit out the bullets. It's that fresh. Okay? A hearty, like, pat on the back and our loved ones just saying, good on you, brother. And then we'll be what did you say? Good on you, brother. Here's a hardcore beer and really rough cigarettes. I don't know. You know what I mean? Here's some Marlboro Reds. Enjoy that cancer, son. You know? You're too much. Anyway, but seriously, okay? Just not the mother loving. Just please not ties and tube socks. Okay? Let's get into this. Tipsy, thank you so much. Wow. Thank you so much. I appreciate it. Thank you so much. Happy Father's Day. Hope everyone had a blessed day with their families. Thank you so much, Tipsy. I really do appreciate it. And thank you so much for stepping up as a mod out here in these streets, because you know for a fact it'd be wilding out here in these comment streets for sure. Okay, so thank you so much. I appreciate it. Nikki, thank you so much for gifting 1 new membership. Thank you so very much. Yes. 1,000 times. Yes. Okay. We have got to get into this. I'm sorry for the left turn, but we had to talk about Father's Day. We can't not talk about, that was a double negative, but you know what I mean? We can't not talk about Father's Day because that's what's going on today. So hopefully it's been a very, very relaxing one for a lot of y'all. Okay. And that's all you need. So portrait of suspect in Minnesota, politically motivated, tragedy, okay, emerges amid massive manhunt. So a massive manhunt is underway right now for Vance Boelter. You just saw his face. Again, let me just say this. If you know him, you've seen his face anywhere, call 877-996-6222. Again, 877-996-6222. All right? And it doesn't matter what political affiliation he is in, because right now, this man is armed and considered extremely dangerous. So he doesn't care. He was pulling the trigger at police when he was caught walking out of the last home that he tried to take people's lives out in. Okay? He didn't go, you MAGA or no? You know what I mean? They didn't ask that. Who do you vote for? Do you vote for Trump or Harris? He didn't do that. He just pulled out the weapon and started pulling the trigger. Okay? He didn't care. All right? So let's move on. So authorities are piecing together a profile of this suspect, accusing him of taking the life of a Democratic Minnesota lawmaker and wounding another in 4 people got hit in 2 separate politically motivated shootings on Saturday, which we already know. But State Representative Melissa Hortman, okay, and her husband lost their lives. May they rest in peace. And then the state senator, okay, he and his wife, okay, his name, John Hoffman, okay, and his wife, Yvette, were seriously, severely injured in this attack. Okay. Both of them are in the hospital. And from what I understand, Yvette is now awake. She has opened her eyes, which is obviously very good news. Hopefully she pulls through, and hopefully Senator Hoffman pulls through as well. Officials say Boelter impersonated law enforcement to gain access to the lawmakers' homes. Photos believed to be of Boelter show a man at one of the victim's doors wearing a long sleeve shirt, what looks like a bulletproof vest similar to those worn by law enforcement. Yeah, he was cosplaying as a mother-loving cop. Another photo shows a man wearing a cowboy hat walking alone, which is this photo right here. But now his hat was found on, like, in the car or something like that because they found a car on the side of the road, okay, apparently that he stole. Moving on. Okay, officials, he impersonated law enforcement, blah, 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 cowboy hat. Now, that's the thing. He was wearing this cowboy hat walking alone. Authorities found what they believe is his vehicle and a cowboy hat in Sibley County, where an emergency alert has been issued for residents in the area to keep their doors locked and cars secured. Law enforcement, including state troopers, set up a staging area Sunday about 3 miles away from Boelter's Green Isle home. Video showed armed state troopers in the area. Now, here's some information about the guy, which I think is very, very importante, all right? He's a married man with 5 children. But from what we understand, because he had a roommate, he would live and stay at this guy's home for, a couple days out of the week, throughout the month, okay, which is a very interesting situation, but hopefully they'll explain a little bit more when they catch the mother lover, right? But moving on, State Public Safety Commissioner Jacobson identified Boelter, 57, as the suspect, describing him as a 6'1" man with brown hair, okay, wearing a light-colored cowboy hat, which not anymore, okay, and a dark long-sleeve collared shirt or coat. Jacobson urged people not to approach Boelter if they see him, adding that he is quote unquote armed and dangerous. Duh. I feel like that's a safe bet. Stay away and just call 911. Okay. And then, of course, Governor Tim Walz even said that this was a politically motivated situation. Now, here's the thing. He worked in Africa. Well, actually, I skipped this, but according to a video circulating online, he is married with a father of 5 children. His wife, who has not yet been identified, was stopped by Mille Lacs County Sheriff's Office Saturday morning, okay, in Minnesota, in Onamia. Hopefully I'm saying that right. Onamia, Minnesota, as part of a perimeter stop. Several other relatives were in the car, according to the sheriff's office, and no one in the vehicle was questioned or searched. And from what I understand, on her person, she had like a bunch of identification that she didn't really need to have on her person, like a bunch of passports, etc. Some weird stuff going on. Okay. And again, don't know if she don't know if she was helping him out, if she knew that he was going to try to do this hit, if he was going to try to act out this hit or not. I don't know. But she was detained, but then later let go, which is very strange. I will say that, especially with what was found on her person. Okay. So in a 2022 video posted on Facebook and verified by NBC News, Minnesota Africans United featured a person introduced as Vance Boelter during a discussion about trade and investment opportunities in the Democratic Republic of Congo. As a keynote presenter, Boelter said he was calling from the DRC and spoke about his work partnering with farmers and fishermen in the country to help them stimulate their food supply system. So in a statement shared with NBC News, a spokesperson for the Minnesota Africans United said there is no connection between Minnesota Africans United and the individual who carried out the attacks, these alleged attacks, okay, or these attacks for real. They're not alleged, okay? And this is what they said about these attacks on Hortman, Hoffman, and their respective spouses. On his LinkedIn profile, he listed himself as the CEO of Red Lion Group. Although he also marks himself as open to work, it is not immediately clear what Red Lion Group is. In a post 2 years ago, he wrote that he was in the DRC working on quote unquote several projects, and that the company had a great meeting with the new governor of Congo Central to talk about our private business projects. Now, some people are saying, like, some people are out here saying that he was like some sort of mercenary or something crazy like that. Honestly, I don't know. Like I said, there's a lot of rumors circulating about this guy, which of course can cause a lot of confusion. And then you got to remember the things that were found. And I'm going to have to hop over to the press conference when it gets started. But they're saying that, when they went to the car that he used, that was like a fake cop car, they say that there was a bunch of flyers with No Kings flyers in the car. But honestly, those flyers were just literally pieces of paper that had No Kings written in Sharpie. That's what it looked like. It almost looked like he made a No Kings thing. He wrote No Kings on a piece of paper and then went and copied that a bunch of times. That's what it kind of looked like to me. Like it was a copy of a copy of a copy of a copy of a copy. And of course, there's a lot of people that are very confused, right, about this whole situation. And I do not blame them. There's a lot of people that are wanting to know what the F is going on. And like I said, I really, really would like to know as well. But yes, so there is going to be a press conference here fairly shortly. Let's get straight into this and see what the heck is going on, shall we?
He heads to the G7 summit with other world leaders in Canada. You can see him getting on Marine One to head to Joint Base Andrews. So we're following that very closely here on Live Now from Fox. He talked about the ongoing.
While we wait, I can still give you guys some coverage off camera, just so you guys know. But yes, Word Sleuth, yes, he had several names. He had upwards of 70 plus names on a list. That's what is allegedly being reported and talked about out here, which is crazy. Okay. Like I said, there's a lot of weird and strange things with this particular situation that I still want to understand even more. Right. Sorry, I'm just getting. Let's see. Hold on. Okay. Here's some other information while we wait for this press conference, because if I am correct, and Word Sleuth, thank you so much for that information. Yeah. So they're waiting for the press conference to start. So I'm keeping this on for right now. So there's going to be a few, maybe they're going to get started here shortly. If that is the case, then of course I'll stop talking, but he is definitely still on the run. They don't know where he is. He may have gone off and done the unthinkable, right? They may be, instead of it being a capturing, this could just be a recovery, if you get what I'm saying. So that's still a very big possibility here. But yes, a manhunt is underway. But I do want to share this with y'all here too. The wife of Vance Boelter, okay, which of course is the suspect that we are all keeping an eye on right now, all right, was in a vehicle that was pulled over by law enforcement Saturday. Passports and cash, all right? Passport and cash were found in vehicle. Please explain to me, what was she doing with passports and a gang load of cash? And no, she was not trying to go to America with R. Kelly. Okay. Do you have your passports? Do you have your shots? Okay. That was not what was going on here. So what is going on with her with passports, plural, and cash in the car, right? So she was involved in a traffic stop, and I'm just reading this off camera real quick. But in fact, let me unmute this really quick.
We're still searching that area tonight, and Babs has been telling us that there were still people out in their fields. This is a very rural area, and some of the deputies were having to approach people and say, this may not be a good idea to be outside right now as we're searching for a wanted.
Might be a bad idea.
And part of that emergency alert that was issued was really lock your cars, lock your doors. We don't have any knowledge of whether he is there or they believe that he is there, but this is an area where clearly there's some evidence that's been found, and we'll just continue to show his picture because now, the FBI offering $50,000 for this information leading to the arrest and the conviction, and every minute, hour, day that goes by here, we've all seen this enough to know that every minute counts. So continue to show you that there are so.
Okay, I'm gonna let that cook. I'm gonna keep that on here because they're gonna be going into this press conference very shortly. I'll keep an eye out for this, but I want to give you that information here really quick. Okay, authorities told Fox 9. All right, Jennifer Lynn Boelter. That's her name. That is his wife's name, Jennifer Lynn Boelter. Okay, she was in a vehicle with several other relatives who were questioned after a traffic stop. Okay, in the Onamia area in Mille Lacs County Saturday morning. My office assisted law enforcement on a stop near a convenience store in the city of Onamia. Okay, our role was to stop. Our role on this stop was perimeter. We did a search. We did not search or question any of the occupants. I was told by my staff, who responded that the suspect's wife was in the car along with several other relatives. And I'm still wanting to know why so many relatives, unless they were trying to get the scent off of her track, I guess, maybe. I don't know, like hiding in large numbers, which is very strange that she would be with them, several relatives in this car with passports and cash. Weird. But moving on, the police was not directly involved with searching the vehicle or questioning the occupants. But Burton said, of course, this is the sheriff, said there were a large group of investigators from several metro agencies on the scene. So Fox 9 was told that during the stop, where the suspect's wife and relatives were questioned, they were found with passports and cash. She's not in custody right now. Okay, Boelter has been named, which we already know as a suspect in this situation. But it's weird that she was detained for a second. She was let go. She's not in custody. They went through her stuff, found passports, found cash. But now I want to know how much mother-loving cash was on this woman, because if she had thousands of dollars on her person, that would be grounds for suspicion for sure, especially if your husband is connected to this situation, especially if your husband's the suspect, for crying out loud, right? But it is weird. They went through her stuff, that car, or, found passports, cash. She is connected. She is married to this man who's out on the lam right now as we speak. That ain't a little bit sus to you? That's weird, right? Very weird. But are we getting started? False alarm. Oh, they're about to get started. So let's get it cracking. Do me a favor, guys. Hit the like button down below, please, and thank you. Okay. Hit that reaction button if you're watching on other platforms. Of course, let's not forget, subscribe if you can. Subscribe. Rianne, thank you so much for the love. I appreciate it. Happy Father's Day. Thank you so much. The best podcaster ever. Thank you. We love you, brother. Thank you. God bless you too. Always. Thank you. Thank you so very much. I really do appreciate that. Carbonized, thank you so much for the love. I appreciate it. Tell me harder how they tried to stage this like protesters did this. See what I'm saying? It seems weird, right? Unless he did that to throw the scent off. Unless he did that himself, which is still a possibility, that he did that whole thing to throw people off. That's it. This is like the worst theater ever at this point. Yeah. Shake my head. Yeah, absolutely. I couldn't agree more. It is weird, right? Ain't it a little bit weird? Okay. Onamia, I am saying it correctly. London Calling, thank you so much. Okay. Onamia. But still, weird, right? Wifey gets pulled over, has several relatives in the car, a bunch of passports, a bunch of cash, and that isn't bringing up, you know what I mean? Some stuff that's a little weird though, right? Tisa. Is this really Tisa Tells? Or is this a lie? Is this a lie? Hold on. Oh, it's fake. It's fake. For a second there, I'm like, oh, wow, that's what's up. That's what's up, but it's fake. But yeah, that ain't real, y'all. Let's get into it.
My name is Bob Jacobson. I'm the Commissioner of Public Safety, and it's my honor to be with you again today on this continuing investigation. First of all, I want to thank our law enforcement partners who are continuing to investigate and search for our suspect in this case. We appreciate all the time that they're taking away, including today on Father's Day, as they're trying to, again, get to a successful conclusion. I also want to thank the public for listening to what we're putting out there for information, assisting us in any way that they can in locating our suspect. We appreciate that very much. And their help is always, of course, appreciated. Today we'll have some speakers to present some information and updates on what's going on with our investigation. So as we get through our speakers, after we're all done, there'll be an opportunity to ask some questions. So with that, I'm going to turn it over to Mayor Ryan Sabas. Mayor.
Thank you, and thank you all for coming. It's in moments like this that we search for answers to something that defies understanding. A senseless and tragic act that has shaken us all. But in our darkest hours, we're reminded of the strength and resilience of community. We come together not only to grieve, but to stand strong. And together, we will rise. The heinous act should never have happened. Speaker Emeritus Melissa Hortman and Senator John Hoffman are not just public servants. They are remarkable individuals who have devoted their lives to serving others. Every person deserves to feel safe in their home, including those that are elected to lead us. We have the full confidence in our justice system and the professionals working tirelessly to bring individuals responsible to justice. The Champlin Police Department, the Brooklyn Park Police Department, the Hennepin County Sheriff's Office, the Minnesota Department of Public Safety, and the FBI, all working closely in coordination on this ongoing and active investigation. We are anxiously awaiting news of justice, and we will not rest until that happens. If you have any information, please contact the tip line at bca.tips@state.mn.us or call 877-996-6222 or your local police department. Your voice could make the difference. Now more than ever, we must truly focus on what matters. Beneath all of our differences, political, personal, or otherwise, we are all human beings, and every human life has a value. Let us move forward with compassion, unity, and a fierce resolve for care for one another. While this tragedy has deeply impacted our cities, the people of Champlin, Brooklyn Park, and the greater Minnesota community are strong. We support those who are grieving, we honor those that we have lost, and we stand beside those that are still fighting. Champlin, Brooklyn Park, surrounding areas, stay strong, show love, show respect, be kind, and never forget the strength that we hold when we stand together. Thank you. And with that, I'll turn it over to Mayor Winston. Thank you.
Hi, so Mayor Winston of the city of Brooklyn Park. As I've said before, prayers and support go out to the families of the Hoffmans and the Hortmans. I know that our cities, Champlin, and Brooklyn Park are going through a fair amount of grief. But in reality, there's no distance between Brooklyn Park and Champlin Park in terms of supporting the families. Because of this, we know that Speaker Hortman, beyond her legislative impact, has had such an impact on unifying our communities and bringing them together. And even in a personal level, she's been dedicated to helping youth when nobody was looking. And when we look at Senator Hoffman earlier today, I was at a prayer vigil for him. And we were talking about how are we going to support the family and come together. And we realized that the number of families that we're going to have to reach out to and the communities we're going to have to reach out to bring everyone together, he's just had such an outsized impact. It's going to be a fair amount of work to properly support and honor him. Because of that, we're really supporting law enforcement in this, and we want to thank law enforcement for the pursuit of justice. So when we talk about Governor Walz and Commissioner Jacobson and the resources they made available immediately to our resources at the federal level, the support that we're getting there, county, regional, local, and of course, Brooklyn Park. I think the work that was done there saved a number of lives. And again, they're committed to justice. And to assist them, we're asking, I think it was said earlier, we asked folks if they have information, please reach out to a tip line. And also, please, if you're looking for information, track real points of information, directly contact or look at information from law enforcement sources. Avoid not sharing or sharing misinformation. And then also let's realize it's a time for calming words and influence. We are one community, so we very much need to come together on this and support one another. Again, there is some healing that needs to be done here, and we really want to support the families. Again, prayers go out to the families of the Hortmans and the Hoffmans. So thank you, everybody, for your support, and thank you for support not just for within Brooklyn Park or Champlin, but also thank you for support from across the country and through greater Minnesota.
Thank you, Mayor, and mayors and commissioner, and for everybody. I am Drew Evans, the superintendent of the Minnesota Bureau of Criminal Apprehension. I want to provide you a little bit of an update on what we've been working on today and where we are continuing to go. Law enforcement continues to work in partnership to locate and take into custody Vance Boelter in relation to these murders and attempted murders. There's a nationwide warrant for his arrest for the murders and attempted murders in this case at the state level. And there's also then a federal warrant for the same crime, or for him as well, for unlawful flight to avoid prosecution. That's through the coordination that's been done with the Hennepin County Attorney's Office and the United States Attorney's Office for that. And so he is wanted on those across the United States. He is not in custody at this time. This remains a very active investigation. We continue to conduct interviews on the investigative piece, not only to learn his whereabouts, but also to follow up on the case and gather the information as part of the
Thanks for letting me know, Debbie.
The prosecution related to him. As you may have noted today, and I know you've been around and the sheriff provided some updates, there is information that led us to do the searches that continue in Sibley County in that area. Those teams will continue to be active until they feel that they have done a thorough and complete search in that area for him. I want to reiterate for everybody, if you know anything about his whereabouts, or if you spot anything suspicious or may have been suspicious in the last 24 hours, anywhere, but certainly down in that area, to please contact law enforcement, either your local law enforcement and through our tip line. I also want to remind everybody that there's a $50,000 reward offered by the FBI in this particular case. That reward is leading to the capture of him related to this, and that is offered by the FBI. The teams that continue to work on this is over 100 law enforcement officers and numerous SWAT teams that are in that area searching for him. The BCA is working in partnership in this investigation with the Brooklyn Park Police Department, Hennepin County Sheriff's Office, FBI, ATF, United States Marshal Service, Sibley County Sheriff's Office, and then numerous other agencies such as the State Patrol and other sheriff's offices from across the state of Minnesota and local law enforcement. This is of the utmost priority, and that is why you're seeing teams from the Twin Cities down in Sibley trying to apprehend him as quickly as possible. We did locate in that area that led us a vehicle that we had interest in related to him yesterday that we were searching for, and it was located in Sibley County very early today. Also, I know it's been reported a hat that we believe he was wearing was found in proximity to that vehicle, which is what has led us to believing he was in that area. As we go forward on this, as we see, what we would ask the public to do is continue to remain vigilant, and anything that you see as suspicious, to please report this to us. You know, for him, it is important now at this point that he's wanted for these to come into custody. We want that to be done safely, both for him and for the public, so that we can move forward with this process, and also for the entire state of Minnesota. As I noted, our law enforcement continue to work very diligently and hard, and we know everybody wants answers. And what I'd ask for everybody today, I know it's been a long day without updates, but that's because it's been a very fluid day. There's been a number of different things that have been followed up on throughout the day and will continue to. As noted, we have taken in over 400 tips into our tip line already, and I would encourage people to continue to provide those so that our investigators can sift through those for clues and information that will lead us to him and to uncover exactly what's happening. Lastly, I would just remind everybody that, you know, we have families that continue to grieve, that are going through this process, and that it's very difficult for them. We've been in contact with families related to this, trying to provide some answers. And while everybody wants an easy answer, I would encourage everybody online and in our communities to not speculate on what occurred and what the motivation was for this. We often want easy answers for complex problems. And this is a complex situation that our investigators are going to need time to sift through the information and evidence. And those answers will come as we complete the full picture of our investigation. And we will continue to provide that information as we are able. With that, I'd be happy to answer some questions at this time. And I just remind everybody that it's a very active investigation.
So they can't tell us nothing.
We saw a car when we went to the scene where they were talking about the active investigation in City County. Did you find anything in that car? Our reporters noticed that there was something being grabbed underneath the blanket. Can you share any information?
So the question was, did we find anything in that car? We did find items of evidence in that car that are relevant to this investigation. We can't go into the details of that, but there were items recovered for that car that are relevant, that will be part of our investigation, that provide additional answers and that lead us to believe, additionally, beyond looking for it, that he was associated with that vehicle.
Okay. Interesting.
Do you believe the suspect is trying to leave the country? And so
yeah. He's trying to leave.
The question is, do we believe that he is trying to leave the country or headed towards Canada? You know, there's a large law enforcement presence down in Sibley County, but we don't have him in custody. So we don't have evidence that he's intending a particular destination, but all options are open to the investigative team, and they're exploring that right now.
Dan Hawkins, New York Times, do you believe he's on foot?
The question is, do we believe he's on foot? We believe in terms of we have not concluded exactly how he is getting around the area at this time. It could be in multiple ways that he has traveled, and that's open. And that's why you see in that area a very large perimeter, because they're looking at various modes of transportation from there.
Thanks. Brittany Shepard, ABC News. Do you believe the suspect is still alive? Can you tell us more about the traffic stop involved in what happened?
Yeah, the question is, do we believe he's still alive? We're certainly operating as though he's still alive and believe he is at this time, and will continue on as is. And the question about his wife and traffic stop, I think everybody would know that, you know, in any time an individual is identified as a suspect in investigation, we're going to talk to their family members and do that. So we met with his family, not just his wife, but other family members, to really understand what's going on. And that's part of that. And that will help us complete the investigation, and so that was part of what we're doing. Jay,
what about the
Jay Cole's Channel 5 News? On that point, are they in custody at all, or were they just questioned and released? And also, do you have any evidence that he might have stopped at another
Good question.
house before he got off in the morning?
So the questions were, are they in custody? The answer is no. And then as far as the others, we've mentioned we can't get into the specifics of the investigation. What we believe that there certainly were other individuals that were identified as part of this information with him. And the terms of what exactly he had done, we are still continuing to build out that full picture as to what his whereabouts were. But we certainly are getting there. And there were other individuals that, might have been contacted or targeted. Yep. Paul.
One of my colleagues spoke with people in Sibley County who were told that the suspect may have been getting around on a bicycle or a e-bike. Can you speak to that at all?
Yeah. So the question was, is the individual getting around on a bike or bicycle? I think that, as noted previously, there might be multiple modes of transportation for the individual, and we can't get into the details and specifics. It might thwart our ability to locate the individual.
Yeah, Drew Paul, Fox 9, just about assistance. Do we believe at this point he's getting any assistance? Any evidence that was found? And then just to elaborate a little bit more on that traffic stop, because if there have been leaks that the cash is in the wife's car, passports, weaponry, it sounds, intriguing. Can you elaborate a little bit more on what was found there and why they, if so, they were able to be released?
Yeah, the question was, why were they about the traffic stop and what were then, can you repeat the first part of your question?
And the first was just, is there any hard evidence that he's getting assistance?
Oh, yeah, thank you. So the question was, is there assistance in the items? And I can't discuss the details of what was inside of the vehicle at that time. It's part of our active criminal investigation, and we're working on that. Why were they allowed to be released? They were cooperative. We're working through that process. We certainly always analyze evidence, but they were very cooperative with us and provided us the information we needed and the information related to that. If the question about do we believe he's receiving any assistance, options are on the table. We haven't seen specific individuals doing that, but we don't know that specifically now. He's certainly been in contact with individuals. Whether or not they're providing active assistance, I can't provide that. Go ahead.
Have you found any indication of prior threats, any online activity, any communication besides the manifesto? If you wouldn't mind sharing some details of the manifesto that might help people help find them.
Yeah. Thank you for the question. It was about details on what's been referred to as manifesto, and then are there online information or others or threats indicating. So far, we have not located any prior threats with this individual towards anybody on that. That will obviously be a deeper dive to really understand the motivation of this individual and whether or not that is on there and connections related to threats, whether they might be here or in different parts of the United States. In terms of what's been referred to a manifesto, I want to clarify for everybody, and just for this is not a document, because I think it's important for the public to understand, that would be like a traditional manifesto that's a treatise on all kinds of ideology and writings. This is a notebook with a lot of, that's been reported, of lawmakers and others that are listed in here, and then much more other thoughts that are throughout this, as opposed to a very succinct document that's providing long, and it's mixed in with other documents. So that's where this is coming from. I don't want the public to have the impression that there's this long manifesto that's providing all of this information and details and then associated with names. It's much more about names and then others, and we will work through. And beyond that, I cannot provide details because it's part of the active criminal investigation.
I have a question. Is the shelter even related to this investigation?
I am not familiar with that. I'd have to ask you to go to Egan. The question was a shelter in place in Egan, and I am not tracking a shelter in place in Egan right now. Was it earlier today, or is it right now? I would ask that we've been in here for a few minutes, but so I don't know if there's anything related to ours, but I'd have to ask you to talk to the Egan Police Department.
More about the federal role?
Yeah, I can, just on that. So the federal on, yes, please.
You can speak more about the federal role.
Yeah.
Is there still an ongoing threat to current lawmakers?
So what I would tell you in terms of the questions were ongoing threat to public lawmakers, is there one? Certainly the safety of our lawmakers and public services is utmost concern to all of us. Certainly is to the security apparatus at the Capitol that provide that for them, our Minnesota State Patrol as well. And so we continue to evaluate that. I will say that we have no indication that the individual that is wanted here did anything other than conduct these acts by himself. But that doesn't mean we aren't exploring more fully if there's any other threats that might be there. We will continue to evaluate that and work together with them. In terms of the role of the federal government, they've been extremely great partners to all of us. The FBI and ATF, the United States Marshal Service, and others from the federal government are providing both investigative assistance on this case and then participating in the manhunt for the individual to locate him and take him into custody safely. That is not uncommon in a large case like this, and the United States Attorney's Office has been in contact with us, and they certainly will be exploring if there are federal charges that would be connected to this sort of violence that was conducted on our lawmakers.
Who is taking the lead? It's still a Minnesota?
Yeah, so this is a partnership right now. The Brooklyn Park Police Department is the lead on the murders that occurred in their city, and we are assisting them as we do as a BCA and communities all across Minnesota with the assistance of the Sheriff's Office as well, and then those federal agencies. When we do an investigation like this, it is not uncommon for us to work in partnership with our federal agencies to see if there is an investigation that may lead to federal charges, which is what we're doing. So it is very typical that you would pursue in a murder case, the murder investigation as a state case, be charged, and then we'll examine if there are federal charges, and we'll have those ongoing conversations, which we are doing right now with the United States Attorney's Office for Minnesota. And in that case, the FBI is typically the lead agency in that case, unless there is something else that's more specialized, like gun charges, et cetera. All right, thank you. We should answer this. So, and this is, the question is, this has been expanded to South Dakota. And I think that came from, I don't know the specifics, but oftentimes when we're looking for an individual, we will send out information to law enforcement in surrounding states. Yesterday, he certainly had a lot of time to be able to cover a lot of distance once we knew that he had escaped from the crime scene. We believe that information was shared just like we would share in Minnesota if somebody was coming. This happens on a regular basis, that it was shared out for their law enforcement to be on the lookout. They call it a BOLO, to be on the lookout for the individual. And we believe it was there. We were never tracking and believing the individual went to South Dakota as an investigative team. Thank you. Thank you all.
Very, very interesting.
All right, you're just listening in there to our Fox 9 team or updates from officials in Minnesota. We're going to jump into our Fox 9 team a little bit, but not a ton of takeaways on this most recent update on the day number 2 of the Minnesota manhunt, as of course they believe that this vehicle belongs to this individual, Vance Boelter, there in Minnesota. They're also talking about the FBI increasing the reward to $50,000. They are assuming that he's alive, and also talked about the mode of transportation and maybe possibly multiple transportation. They said they met with his family. They are not in custody at this point, and they are being cooperative. Also talked about the manifesto, saying there were no prior threats to anyone on his hit list, his kill list. Let's take you back out right now to our.
Now, what's interesting about this is that, you know, they don't, obviously this is a very confusing situation. This is a very confusing one. I'm going to keep it real. This one's very confusing because we do have to talk a little bit about this manifesto. So we're going to get straight into that too. And, you know, again, like there's a lot of weird stuff going on that I would hope would be explained a little bit better. You know, but they're not really saying a whole lot. They're not giving us much information here, which is really, really frustrating. But this is one of the crime scenes. OK, this is the home of Melissa Hortman, state representative Melissa Hortman's home. Again, I mean, whatever happened here is insane. I will say that. OK. But there is some information here that I think is really, really interesting, especially when it comes to the conversation about this manifesto that he had, right? Yeah, Tyler, I agree. I mean, I feel like there needs to be more information here, but there's not a whole lot, which is unfortunate. But there is information, at least about the manifesto. I want you to know, I said it earlier, about 70 some odd amount of names was on this list. This guy wanted to do some serious damage. Why to these people? It's insane. Also, who's on the list, right? And we are about to see that, or we're about to hear at least some examples of the names on the list. It's not like they put out the whole list, because let's be real. If they were to put out the whole list, that could inspire other people to be like, oh, well, I need to finish what he started. You see what I'm saying? So something weird is really going on for real. Okay, so let's get into this. All right. Of course, we already know that the Senator Hoffman, and his wife are in the hospital. And from my understanding, she has opened her eyes. Okay, Yvette Hoffman has opened her eyes, which is obviously very, very good news. Okay, okay. So the thing is let's see. She'd find out later her name was on that list as well. Okay, which is interesting. It's wild that he would know all of their names. Okay. I think, of course, about my own safety. Wait, sorry. This is from Tina Smith. Okay. I have no idea who Tina Smith is, but even Amy Klobuchar was on this list as well, which is crazy. All right. So moving on. All right. What law enforcement first described as a manifesto penned by Vance Boelter, the man sought in these tragedies. Okay, officials have said is primarily lists of lawmakers and abortion providers. The list was found in several locations rather than being discovered in just one place, they said Sunday. So an official, who has seen the list said it included names of at least several dozen people. Another person familiar with the investigation who saw a list of targets purported to have been written by Boelter said it included names of individuals and businesses, including Planned Parenthood locations. Hortman's name was on the list. Okay, was down on the list, but it wasn't at the top of the list. Okay, so this list wasn't even alphabetized. Okay, and some of the names actually had addresses next to them, while others did not. So this guy was doing some of his research, just not all of them, right? Or maybe he thought that maybe there's no way I'm going to be able to accomplish doing what I want to do. So let me just go in there and just take some people out as quickly as I can. You know, if I can get 1, 2, 3, whatever, before I get caught, bet. All right, because again, there were 2 pages containing about 50 to 70 names, y'all. 50 to 70 names. No separate manifesto was seen. Sources also confirmed Minnesota Senator Amy Klobuchar was on the list, along with others of the DFL congressional delegation and abortion providers, along with Smith, U.S. Reps Kelly Morrison, and Ilhan Omar. Their names were also included into this situation. As word of the these unalivings and the list spread, lawmakers text frantically with each other about which names were included. Law enforcement told many lawmakers on the list directly. That's some creepy stuff if you really think about it. Okay. Before Morrison knew anything had happened, a local police officer knocked on the door of her suburban home early Saturday morning. He told her to shelter in place, but couldn't say anything more. Not long after, Morrison connected with fellow Democrats in the Minnesota congressional delegation and learned she, too, had been listed as a possible target on this monsters list. This is a really dark and scary moment for our state and for our country and a lot of things, Morrison said in an interview while she was holding up with her family, or holding up with her family. Okay. So again, a lot of names, 50 to 70. Some of them had addresses next to them. Some of them didn't. It's almost like he had just kind of like a notebook of random thoughts, random ideas, a list of people he wanted to take out. He did some research on, like doxing these people, trying to find out where they lived, etc. but then, didn't get every single person's name. And maybe he just got really impatient, couldn't take it anymore, and was like, hey, I need to strike while I can, right? I need to do some bad. Maybe that's what it is, right? Again, these were all, from what he's saying, from what this article is saying, most of these people, if I'm gathering this correctly, were blue, Democrat, on the left. So again, of course, people are wondering, is this a lefty that just lost his mind? Or if this is a, conservative, hardcore conservative, maybe a radicalized, newly converted conservative that just wanted to take matters in his own hands in a terrible and deadly fashion. I don't know, but one thing is for sure, this man was wanted to go out there and do some serious damage. I also think that this whole thing was planned out. I truly think that this thing was planned out. Okay. With his wife, with other people, but the roommate is completely thrown off and shocked by this whole situation. We got to take a look at a couple of these interviews that he's done, because again, his roommate, the guy he would go and stay with periodically over the course of a couple months, he would be there for a few weeks and then leave, and that kind of thing. He didn't live there every day. I guess he lived out there because of, I don't know, maybe traveling was too much or something like that. I don't know. But all I know is that his roommate, who he's known since he was in 4th grade, who's basically like his brother, is shook by this situation, completely thrown off and surprised by this situation. You just really never know who you're living with in a way. And it's pretty creepy and pretty scary. Rianne, thank you so much for the super chat. I appreciate it. He might be trying a Luigi. Yeah. Didn't he have a list? Yeah, he had a list. He had some things. He had a manifesto as well. You know what I mean? But I feel like that's everybody, right? I feel like if he's out on bike, that is very Luigi. Okay. If he's out on the lam on a bike right now, instead of using a vehicle, yeah, that is very Luigi right now. Okay. But let's take a look at this interview here.
Or bullets or any of that?
No. He was always kind of into the military stuff. But it was just we were always like that. Me and him, we used to play army men.
How long had you guys known each other?
Since 4th grade, it's been 45 years, 50 years.
Like I said, the reason why he was really emotional is this is his brother, man. This is his boy. He's known him since the 4th grade. I get it, him being emotional. Also, I mean, his home is ruined. Let's not forget that. Look at this. Look at this window right over here to the left of the screen. You know what I mean? Like they destroyed the home. Understandably, they did. Okay, they do what they do, but at the same time, they scorched earth on the house. He has to clean this stuff up and live with it now. And now that the whole place has to get cleaned up and fixed, right? It's terrible, right? And this is one of his friends that maybe he's like, I thought I knew my dude. I thought I knew my brother. I thought I knew my boy Vance, but apparently I didn't know him at all, right? I didn't know he was going to be able to do something like this. To me, I believe this guy is innocent as hell. I know some people are like side-eyeing the hell out of him. To me, he gives me the vibe like he's innocent. I think he's just as shook as anybody else. Okay. Imagine somebody, imagine police busting through your windows and your front door just out of nowhere, right? Some scary stuff. And then to find out that your roommate, who you've known since you were in 4th grade, went out of their way to do something so disturbing like this. That's wild, y'all.
God, it's been longer than that. Yeah, it must have been longer than that. Since
my fame on camera. Yeah, no, I was going to say that.
Since I was 12, probably. 4th grade. 4th grade. How old were you? Forever, we've been friends.
Yeah.
And then,
did you link him up with this house to live with you?
Crazy.
Were you excited about that 2 years ago?
well, he's been living up here for a while. He was living in Bloomington. He's a manager of a food place. And then he quit the job and He went down to Africa, got things going down there. Said he wanted to start his own companies.
So the security company, was that fully formed, or was that just an idea
that
still?
was just some fantasy. It was he'd talk about it, but there was no movement on that part.
In other words, the dude was cosplaying like he was some sort of like, he thought he was some badass. That's just what I think. He wanted to be a security guard, or maybe he wanted to be a cop. Suddenly out of nowhere, he had this inspiration to be something more that he, never was, or, never got an opportunity to be. And then, started buying a whole bunch of stuff. Right. But, even so, someone said a modern day Batman. Groovy just said that. I want to say modern day Batman, because he's going out here and he's just murking people. OK, murking government officials that have, from what we know, have not been caught red-handed doing any types of crimes that we know of. So, I wouldn't call him that. You know what I mean? But still, he's going out here and just doing some really, really bad things. And what for? For the cause of the right, for the cause of the left. What is it? What is the motivation here, right?
And he always had a fascination with military equipment. So do I, but I'm 100 miles away from killing people.
Okay, he clearly is like, yo, I'm a huge fan of this stuff, but whoa, don't at me. Don't at me, though. Hold up. I'm not about that life. I think it's interesting. I like weapons. Okay, I'm a guy, guys like that kind of stuff, but don't think I'm all about this. Okay, but still, this guy's an enthusiast. And maybe, like I've said before, maybe he joined some CrossFit box, and now because he's done like 300 burpees and done the Murph a couple times, now he feels like he's a badass. I don't know. You know what I mean? Next thing you know, he's gonna have an American flag tattoo on his shoulder, right? And he's gonna be driving around a big ass truck just because he CrossFits. You know what I'm saying? It's weird, but I've seen it. It does actually happen to people. It does.
Apparently in his manifesto, there was some stuff about Planned Parenthood.
He had a manifesto?
Yeah.
I didn't know about that.
Was there any beliefs about abortion? Or?
Yeah, he was a strong, but he hasn't talked about abortion for years. I mean, this goes back through the 90s. He really hated abortion. But we hardly ever talk. I haven't talked really about abortion for him for years. I mean, and nothing that it was at length. That was at length.
And I was still kind of unsure, like, how did people know you had financial troubles? Like, you just heard that from him?
Well, he was trying to find it. He would always want to work, like 7 days a week, work. He's trying to get money to start his businesses and all that. So,
yeah.
But he didn't like, I don't like abortion, but
yeah,
I don't go to this extreme.
What did you know about these like squad cars he had? Like what the deal was with these cars he had?
Well, he was going to use them for his security company.
Oh.
So he bought them, and he was trying to start it up. So.
Because we've seen 2 today. Like, do you know how many of those you have?
Yeah, I forgot that he had 2. He has one. They towed it away in the back. That was his primary car. And, I guess he had another one.
Did you know that the other one had lights on it and everything?
Well, this one, the one back here didn't have lights on top. It just had lights on the sides. But I wish I.
When was the last time you talked to him?
Last night. And
he is shook. Dude is absolutely shook. Okay, absolutely flabbergasted by the whole situation. Let's keep it a bean. All right. And I mean, I would too, right? I would too if I was living with a guy, and if I was in his shoes, not knowing nothing. You guys are just going through life, doing your thing. You have a periodic roommate that is there, you know, a couple times a month out of, you know what I mean? A couple times a week out of the month. You know what I'm saying? This dude's just completely floored. Like, wow, I didn't expect this, didn't see this coming at all. And, you know, that is a huge surprise to me. Like, this dude doing what he did. But again, like I said, you know, all of us, I think, would just be as shook or as surprised as he is. Okay. I am still here, guys. Trust and believe I am still here. My computer is just tripping a little bit. But let's continue a little bit more.
You know, I wish I could go back in time and stop him. Say something to stop him. You know, you never know that your best friend's just about to do things that he's accused of doing. And
was he acting different?
No,
he seemed normal.
Yeah, I mean, besides the appreciation for friendship and all that,
and
he kind of, you know, maybe he had to keep it all buried deep inside. And I wish I could have saw it, you know. And we were having another friend from Kentucky move up here, and he was very excited about that. I mean, he was happy at times. And
where'd you guys grow up together?
We grew up together in Sleepy Eye.
Sleepy Eye.
Yeah.
And can I ask your name again, if you're comfortable sharing?
David Carlson.
David Carlson. Okay, is Carlson with a K or a C?
C.
Okay, thank you so much.
Crazy stuff, though. I'm still here, guys. But yeah, he is, of course, understandably, completely floored over this situation. We got another interview by him too. Let me just get that for y'all, and let's take a look at that too. Yeah, my phone, my camera's tripping, so give me a second. I'm gonna have it all back up here and running here in just a minute.
He'd always say, "Yeah, I need rest for work, so I'm sharp," because he was extracting eyeballs. So gotta be sharp for that.
I remember him walking out of the house, or hearing him walking out or anything like that.
Nope.
Is it unusual for him to go to bed at 7 p.m.? I mean, when you say...
Well, it depends on the shift, no, because he is working all kinds of hours. Didn't seem odd, no.
Did he give you any emotional message, said that he loves you, besides the text messages or something like that that seemed off?
Well, he said that he made some choices, and he said, "You guys don't know anything about it," but yeah. So that's what he said. He didn't have much time to live.
Another thing to ask, do you mind if I take a picture of the text message?
Nah,
You
I
can
kind of.
block out his number.
Yeah. Well, the thing is, I kind of keep that private because I read it to people, and I don't know. I just got to get going. I have to.
Is his phone still ringing when you called?
No, it's
Go straight to voicemail?
yeah, just voicemail. I can't. He won't. He doesn't want me involved.
Yeah.
So he's not going to call me. He's not going to receive calls from me.
Can we at least see the text?
Well, everyone's taking pictures. I don't know why I'm so. He sent it to me and a friend, so it wasn't just me. And I don't know if my friend would think about me sharing that with everybody. I mean, I read it out loud just so you guys could get a context of what I feel when I read it.
Yeah.
And
Can you read it to us? We were in here yesterday.
yeah, I know. But I got to really get going.
Do you have a message for him in case he's watching? He watches. Do you want to send him a message?
Yeah, tell him I love him and he's still my best friend, and I hope he doesn't kill anybody else. And I hope he surrenders himself for the sake of his family.
You must be disappointed.
Well, yeah. But, you know, I don't want to see him killed. And, you know, I'll still visit him in prison, I guess. That's what else are you going to do? But, you know, I just don't want him to give up on life or kill himself.
Are you concerned he may have already done that?
Sure.
You said that he said in recent days he made choices that you don't know about. Tell us about those conversations, please.
Those weren't that was a text. Yeah.
He didn't do anything in your interactions with him in the days before this happened that made you wonder.
No, that made me call the police.
The text did.
Yeah.
But any conversations you had in the last few days prior to this, nothing seemed.
Well, like we said, we had our separate lives. I worked and he worked, and he was here, and sometimes we'd go down and we'd hang out, but we would never, wasn't, sometimes politics would be on the TV, but he was never really anything that was in-depth conversation about, just comments, and
And just for the record, your name is David Crossing.
yeah, with a C.
With a C.
Because
I mean, clearly this guy, I feel, I was going to say that same thing, Tammy. I literally you just took the words out of my mouth. I feel really bad for the dude because he's clearly, and something's up with my computer. It's tripping hard. So there's a much closer thing here. But, I'm really, I really feel bad for him. You know what I mean? And clearly he's like, I just want to go home. Or like, I just want to go back in and clean, and I just need to be left alone. I need some time. And he needs time to process this too. You know what I mean? Because this is a lot. Okay. Y'all up in my nostrils right now. You know what I mean? But still very, very sad.
This is Minnesota, and you guys don't know Carlson? Carlson. Carlson. Norwegian, Swedish, yeah. But, yeah.
Thank you. I don't want to take more of your time, so thank you so much.
No problem.
Thanks for.
I mean, again, just really, really sad stuff. We got some more. Yeah, my actually, let me just, I'm going to refresh this for 2 seconds. Just the web page. Like just this, okay? Just give me 2 seconds. I'll be right back. Hopefully StreamYard isn't acting a fool. So just give me 2 seconds. Yeah, it didn't change anything. Okay. Well, I tried. We're just going to keep it moving. We just going to keep it moving. All right? Because we got more to look at. Let's keep on rocking and rolling here. Okay? So let's get it. I'll fix it later. We'll fix that ish later.
Sibley County, they woke up to this alert. We'll show you on your screen right now that they located what they believe to be the shooter's vehicle near Highway 25. They're telling people still in Sibley County, stay in your homes with your doors locked, keep your cars secured so that he cannot use any of these places to hide. And that, of course, they want anyone to report any suspicious activity to 911. They did let the community know that they would be going door to door. And we saw some video of that earlier, our new drone video of officers approaching various properties to question the people inside and make sure they're okay and search the properties and make sure that he's not trying to seek refuge in any of them. Our Joe McCoy has been live in Sibley County near the scene of where they found that vehicle for hours already this morning. Joe, what are you seeing right now?
Julie, we are still seeing that incredibly large police presence here along Highway 25, where that car was found, where that cowboy hat was found, where there's also a property down there. Now, I do think one thing that has been interesting, Julie, and you and Lou were talking so eloquently about how he could have potentially gotten away from Senator or Representative Hortman's home in the middle of the night after he and law enforcement exchanged, allegedly exchanged some gunfire. I also think there's a large question of how he then escaped from the home and then got to Minneapolis and then seemingly got from a Minneapolis to out here in Green Isle. That car that law enforcement is saying is the suspect's vehicle. We do not know if that car is registered to the suspect, but he did come out here and then leave that vehicle right off the side of the road here on Highway 25. And then also there was that cowboy hat that we have not had it confirmed if that is Vance Boelter's cowboy hat, but it does look remarkably similar to the one that he was wearing in that photo that was captured by security cameras. So that car and that cowboy hat have been here the entire morning when my photographer and I arrived on scene here around 8:45. We do not know, however, how long that car and that cowboy hat have been here for. We do not know if that car that law enforcement is saying was his car, because we don't know if it's exactly Boelter's car, but a car that he was driving. We do not know when he got out of that car and ditched it on the side of the road. And if that is his cowboy hat, we do not know when that cowboy hat was then put on the side of the road. So still lots of questions, Julie, as this scene behind us continues to develop. And the law enforcement presence has only ratcheted up this afternoon, Julie. We have seen multiple canine units. We have seen multiple SWAT units arrive on scene. Numerous agencies, too much that I can even list, have arrived on scene here.
I mean, it's interesting that his hat is just found on the side of the road, just chilling like that. I think that's very, very weird. It just seems like, why would you leave your hat behind like that? Why would you leave it behind? Something seems off, in my personal opinion. Hold on one second. It just seems a bit weird. It seems just a tiny bit weird that he would just be leaving that behind. Let's take a look at this.
About 6:45 this morning, I got a phone call from my contact at the Sibley County Sheriff's Department saying that the car was found, this guy's car was found on the gravel road right next to my farm. He was wondering if I was there, which I wasn't, and they would be probably searching the place. So I came down here. I can't access the farm. They did find that car and cowboy hat next to the farm there, and the BCA just got some information from me about the layout of the buildings.
Here's the thing, though, too. Is this going to mean that they're going to do some huge search in the area? I mean, and then also it's like, when was this car left there, or how long ago was it reported that that car was just on the side of the road? Then you also have that hat, that cowboy hat that's just on the ground, just sitting there. It just seems weird that he just leaves those things behind, unless he's doing that to throw people off, like it's just planted there to mess with people. You see what I'm saying? Then the other thing too, you also got to remember, and I still can't get over the fact that his wife, let me repeat that again, his whole mother-loving wife had passports and cash on her person. Now, cash isn't weird unless it's a large amount of cash. Unless you're running around here balling like some celebrity, that's another thing. But the fact that you're walking around with cash in your hands, and if it's a lot of money, if it's a lot of cash, that doesn't look suspicious. And then let's not forget passports. The passports of all things is weird. Unless you said, hey, my license expired and I wanted, I need to have some sort of ID on me. Okay, cool. I can see that. But you mean to tell me that they didn't look at that and say, oh yeah, okay, ma'am, you're fine. You're good to go with all these passports on your person? That just seems weird. To me, it sounds like they were planning on trying to leave. All the relatives, maybe. I don't know. Or maybe herself alone with the relatives trying to be there as a cover-up. It just seems weird. The hat on the side of the road, the car that's just discarded here, it just seems strange. To me, it sounds like they have some sort of planned getaway that they were trying to do. And now they better be watching this wife, because for a fact, if this wife means anything to him, he's going to try to do everything he can to get her back. You know what I mean? To get her out of there so that they can be together. So it's weird if that's the case, right? Yeah, Benzo, I think that the hat's planted too, y'all. I really do think that the hat is planted, but I could be wrong. I mean, we all have our theories, and a lot of times I really do think that we get a lot of times we get a lot of things wrong. But it seems weird that he's just like, Boop. Let me just leave that there. A mother-loving hat. Let me just leave the hat on the ground. Was he really in that big of a rush, leaving that hat on the ground? It just seems weird, guys. Like I said, seems weird. Just like the No Kings pamphlets or pieces of paper that were just in the car randomly. Again, stuff like that just seems like, okay, we're just trying to throw everybody off. You see, we want them to think that this all has to do with the No Kings thing, and it's all motivated behind that. So they're going to think that, this guy's a Democrat, that he's out there in these streets, protesting as well. Maybe they're going to go and try to find him in the protests, you know what I mean, in the demonstrations that are going on in downtown Minnesota. You know what I mean? It just seems weird. But then at the same time, yeah, he did leave a list in the car. He left a notebook filled with ideas and thoughts and dreams. You know what I mean? So it doesn't make any sense. It's just weird. But you got to remember, the reason why the book was found, that book with the list of names, the reason why it was found is because cops pulled up to the house of this representative's home, okay? Or of the senator's home, I'm sorry. And then that's when he saw them as he's walking out of the senator's home. And then he freaked out, opened fire on them, and disappeared on foot. So that car, he couldn't get back to the car. So if he had a list, that list was in the car. He left everything behind except him. Anything that was on his person when he ran. But anything in his car was left behind. So that list was still in the car with the little pamphlets or little pieces of paper that say No Kings on it. So again, something's up here. Something's very odd for sure. Okay, but please do me a favor, guys, before I forget, hit that like button down below, please, and thank you. Okay, I'm going to be wrapping up here fairly soon, but if you can, hit that like button down below, please, and thank you. That'd be greatly appreciated. Don't forget to subscribe, and of course, happy Father's Day to all you papas out there. Real talk, keep being dads. Okay, keep being dads until you die. Okay, dad hard out here in these streets till you die. Let's go.
Camper and ice house and stuff like that that's on the grounds and how to access that stuff. And that's about all I've been told.
Is the wooded area here, that's your property?
Right beyond that, so that's about, I suppose that's half an hour. So the next quarter mile is the farm. And then 301st Avenue is the next road, so it's within sight of right here.
And they said near your property. Do you know how close?
The road, you walk from the road down in the ditch and into my field.
I really got a feeling to get a call like that this suspect at large.
Well, you're watching it. It's already a crazy situation. I was out here working last night and was thinking, gee, I wonder if that guy is in the woods here. Do you kind of some nice places to hide and you continue to work and you just go home. And a friend of mine, John, sent me a funny message saying, hey, did you see that guy running around the farm there? And I said, no, wouldn't that be crazy? Yeah.
I mean, you never really expect something like that.
No, especially like just because it's a crazy situation to begin with, and it's ending up here. So.
I mean, you can't hear anything that he's saying at near the end of this, but clearly he's just as surprised as anybody else about this whole situation, given the fact that this guy drove all the way out here and put his and parked his car, left the hat, and then just ran, right? Benzo, thank you so much for the super sticker. But again, it's something to think about because it does make you wonder what is actually going on here. Why did this go down the way it went down? Why did he leave his hat like that? Was he running away? Was he frantically trying to run? Is that a sign of his mental decline that he left behind this hat? What's really going on here? Here's the other thing too. Minnesota, okay, shares a 547-mile border with Canada, okay, with the Canadian provinces of Manitoba and Ontario. So just so you know, it's only where in Minneapolis, for example, it is only, if I'm correct, about 349 miles just from Minnesota itself, or sorry, Minneapolis itself. It's only 349 miles to the Canadian border. Okay, just Minneapolis itself. All right, so there could be a possibility that he's trying to walk across the Canadian border. Think about that for a second. Just a thought. He could be like, F it, this is as far as I can go. I gotta walk. And he may be trying to walk into the Canadian border, like cross the Canadian border on foot. Maybe that's what he's trying to do. I don't know, but it is very interesting. Passports, let's not forget this. Passports, it's only a couple hundred miles away from the Canadian border. I'm just being real. It's close. Yeah, Debbie, it's close, mother lovers. It's close. So there's still a possibility that he's like, F it. I'm going to hoof it. That could be it too. Let's see. What is this called? What is this? Where was he at? On Onamia. Let's see. How close is that? Okay. I mean, 327 miles. I mean, it's still, that's a hike, bruh. That is a hike, but still, maybe he's like, F it. I'm going to hoof it. I am going to kick rocks. Because if I drive, I'm just going to get caught. So maybe he's just going to try to, literally, maybe he's just going to try to hoof it, which would be insane, right? That would be absolutely insane. But we'll see. We'll see about that. We'll see about what's going to happen here. Okay. But still, whew, unbelievable. Let's continue on here. Okay. And understandably, there's a lot of concern, a lot of questions going on. And they don't know where this dude is. This guy is still on the lam, okay? Out on the lam. And people don't know where he is. Let's take a look at this here right quick. So this is the scene from outside the home of the Representative Hortman's home, where she, of course, lost her life. Her and her husband lost their life. But you can see right here.
We are here at Representative Melissa Hortman's home. She was the Speaker for the Minnesota House for 6 years. She was married. Her husband also died of his injuries. They had 2 children. At Representative Melissa Hortman's home. She was the Speaker for the Minnesota House for 6 years. She was married. Her husband also died of his injuries. They had 2 children. And when you come out here, what you see is a small but growing memorial. And most of these have come in the last hour or so. This scene still looks like a crime scene. I mean, what you see behind me is police tape. What you see is the garage door has been ripped off. It is mangled in the driveway. The front windows are boarded up. The front door is boarded up. There are still visible bullet holes. It is such a jarring sight because as you pull into this otherwise quiet, idyllic, calm suburban neighborhood, and then you see this, it's just so shocking.
One thing is for sure, I'm trying to understand why they would like rip off the garage door, unless, you know, I've always been curious about that, why the garage door was ripped off, right? Some homes near where this suspect's vehicle was found are searched by authorities, which of course totally understandable. Senator Klobuchar even shared encouraging update from injured senator's wife. So she said a text she received from the wife of State Senator John Hoffman, which is amazing. Okay, so both the senator and wife were actually hit, which we already know. Okay, and we already know about Representative Hortman and her husband losing their lives. Okay, but she said that the text was an encouraging update. The text from Yvette Hoffman indicated the senator is, quote unquote, enduring many surgeries, but is closer to being out of the woods. This is absolutely crazy. He took 9 whole bullets, while his wife took 9 as well. That's insane. He got street cred now. He 50 Cent. He got hit more than 50 Cent and he's still alive. Okay? That's insane. Okay? And both are incredibly lucky to be alive. We are gutted and devastated by the loss of Melissa and Mark. We have no words. The text continued. There is never a place for this kind of political hate, and I couldn't agree. I couldn't agree more. But again, so it says here that she took. This is from the text. Let's just read her text, okay? Because they misquoted her here, which is interesting. But they said, "Thank you so much, Senator. Our family is so humbled by the love and outpouring we've received from everyone. John is enduring many surgeries right now and is closer every hour to being out of the woods. He took 9 bullet hits. I took 8, and we are both incredibly lucky to be alive. Literally took more hits than 50 Cent. 50 Cent got hit 8 times, if I'm correct. 8 whole times. And he's still alive. Talking about the candy shop, right? Literally, John Hoffman has been hit more times than 50 Cent. He deserves street cred now. 9 times is no joke. So thank God they're getting through this, though. We are gutted and devastated by the loss of Melissa and Mark. We have no words. There is never a place for this kind of political hate. Thank you for your friendship always. Minnesotans are at our very best when we stand together. And then of course, she said, you can share this. You can share this statement. Again, pretty insane and crazy stuff that somebody went into the home. And again, this guy, Vance, really wanted to make sure that these people did not get back up again. 9 times for the senator, okay? Senator Hoffman, and his wife got hit 8 different times. That is insane. Was it 9 for 50? For 50 Cent? 9 times 50 was okay. I stand corrected. So still the street cred, okay? I thought it was 8. I could have sworn it was 8, but it doesn't matter. Still, no matter what happened here is absolutely insane. Okay, absolutely insane. Here's the other thing, just so you know, which is weird to me. Hat believed to belong to the suspect among items found in an abandoned car. Now they're saying that they know for a fact that this is the car that he was driving, so there's no question on that right now, which is interesting. Well, I'm sure there's probably some sort of ID, some sort of something in the car to make it seem like it is his car. Okay, but nonetheless. All right. His hat believed to have been worn by the Minnesota suspect was among items found in the vehicle located in Sibley County. Okay. So Bureau of Criminal Apprehension, Minnesota Department of Public Safety said during news conference today. And again, they didn't really give us a whole lot of information. And I think it is weird that his hat would just be there by itself, or, along with other items, which is a little bit weird. But maybe he was like, and this could be a possibility as well. Maybe he said, I can't carry all this stuff. I need to get rid of this hat. Or he looked online and saw that they're putting out his photo with him wearing that hat. That could very well be it. Let's not forget. Where's that doggone photo? This is one of the photos that they're using right here, baby. So maybe he looked up online, he opened up his phone, something like that. He got a burner, something like that. Open it up, and they're like, we are looking for Vance Boelter. This is what he could be wearing. And he's wearing that hat, and he's like, oh, snap. I can't take this with me. People are going to be able to see me from a mile away wearing this hat now. So maybe that's what's up. Maybe he got rid of it because of that. Maybe he left it behind because of that, right? That could be it. But he abandoned his car. They found the car. There were his items and that hat that we're looking at in this photo right here. He left those behind in the car. Again, why? Maybe because it was too cumbersome and he needed to lighten his load because he was about to go on foot. That could be it too. But something about this seems a bit weird. Okay? Seems a little bit weird. But again, I'm hoping that they're going to be able to find him. I'm hoping that they're going to be able to get him sooner rather than later, but we're going to see what happens. I'm going to keep an eye out on this and see what's going on. But, we'll be talking about this very, very soon when there's more information and more conversations to have. But I got to get going. That is the show. I appreciate all y'all for being here. Again, to all y'all who are fathers, even those who have to wear the father hat every once in a while, even you stepdaddies, taking care of those snot-nosed kids that ain't even yours, you feel me? But you're still being a father figure to those kids. Shout out to all y'all. All y'all, okay? Happiest of Father's Day. Hopefully it's been a wonderful one. Hope you're getting that nice cookout or going out to dinner, whatever. Or if you just want peace and quiet and be able to relax, I'm hoping that it was that and more for every single last one of you fathers out there. You know who I'm talking about. Every single last one of y'all, okay? But happiest of Father's Day to all y'all. I appreciate you guys being here. It means a lot. If I don't see you guys tonight, I'll be on tomorrow morning, bright-eyed and bushy-tailed, covering the Diddy trial. So be on the lookout for that. It's going to be a crazy one for sure. But before you get going, please do me a solid. Hit that like button down below. Crush it. Do what it do. Hit that reaction button. That'd be greatly appreciated. Don't forget to hit that follow button. I'm on all these platforms. Please check them out. Facebook, X/Twitter, Instagram, TikTok, Rumble. Make sure you hit that follow button over there. Subscribe here on my main channel. Go to my second channel, The Pascal Show Clips. Make sure you're subscribed over there as well. Please and thank you. Okay? Hit that join button down below. Become a member. Check out my Patreon. Check out my locals. And, of course, check out PascalMerch.com. PascalMerch.com. We got some really great stuff over there. Okay, guys. Anyway, it is time to get going. Much love to you guys. See you guys soon. Be good to yourselves. Be good to one another. This is The Pascal Show. Bye.